Hey everybody, Steven here, currently working on my review of the Legion GO, but there's something on my mind that I wanted to shoot a separate video for. I'll talk about it again in the review for just a short snippet, but I wanted a dedicated video because it's been on my mind for a while now, which is the software in this thing is really half-baked. It seems like we're the beta testers, but it's not just something that I've seen with the Legion GO. I saw the same thing with the R.O.G Ally. As a matter of fact, I was expecting that the software was going to be like this. It's kind of something that I see, it's very similar to what we see actually with the game industry, right? Look at Cyberpunk 2077, launched horrible, and it's taken them, what, 2-3 years to really correct that? It seems rare that a game launches these days and it's not a horrible, buggy mess. It almost seems like that first 3 to 6 months potentially is where the devs are going through and cleaning everything up and making it playable. So those early adopters are the ones that are really beta testing it. Halo Infinite, and then another good example of that. The rare examples, we get like Zelda, you get the latest Spider-Man game, those ones, although they do have bugs, the launch is smoother. They've been in development longer also. So instead of just trying to rush it out the door, they spend that extra amount of time to really just make sure that everything's gonna run smooth. The Legion GO here, the built-in software, it's not great, it feels half-baked. I was expecting this just based off my experience with the R.O.G Ally. Even the Steam Deck, it had issues initially, right? Now, overall, that's still to me the top spot. Like, Steam just really knows the software side. They've done incredible with this on that end. The hardware at this point, now they have the new OLED one coming out, of course, but if you're looking at the CPU, AGPU, all that other stuff, like this one's lagging behind now compared to these other ones that are coming out. And that's okay, because the software is so good. With these other ones, we have really good hardware, but the software typically is lacking. But with that being said, it still took Steam a handful of months to correct a lot of things with the deck here, and that was just based off feedback from everybody. So I think part of that is where it's just gonna happen. You're dealing with these handhelds that, I mean, there's a lot going on with them and they can't figure out everything on their own internally. So to some degree, as they release this, you just have to expect, hey, we're gonna have to see updates. Same thing with the game, right? But this is where I wanna hear from everybody else. I want feedback in the comment section. What do you think about that, right? Because I know a lot of people don't like that with games, and now we're seeing it with these expensive handhelds. Granted, these ones are cheaper, but if we're looking at something, you're looking at 1X Player, A.O.K. Zoe, if you're looking at the Win GDP, some of these other ones, Neo, you're looking at $1,000+ for it. By the way, in terms of software, A.O.K. Zoe, 1X Player 2, the same company. That software is probably the worst in my opinion. In terms of, when I say software too, it's not just, hey, Windows. I'm not talking about Windows. I'm talking about their built-in software that you're using to change settings within just the hardware, the ecosystem that they've built. Easy to do that with the Steam Deck. We're looking at, hey, I want to pull up performance metrics. I want to change the resolution. I want to adjust the TDP, whatever it may be. This is easy to do. The R.O.G Ally, it's gotten way better. It's solid now, but initially it wasn't as great. Now they have their own hardware issues because I had to return mine because of the micro SD card reader going out on me, and that's a thermal issue there. But 1X Player, they're way behind at this point. They are making improvements, but mainly they're just throwing this hardware together. They're lacking on the software side. Go a step up from that, and really the Legion GO, the R.O.G Ally, that's where I was personally expecting, hey, it's gonna be a lot better than the 1X Player 2 and the A.O.K. Zoe. It's not gonna touch the Steam Deck, and it doesn't. I think the R.O.G Ally gets the closest. Within that, we're looking at all the settings that you can change in that quick access menu, and looking at one of my favorite things to do with this is, hey, I can change the presets for the picture. I want it to be the RPG mode or RTS mode or whatever it may be, just the visual qualities of the screen. You get to adjust those on the fly. And then all the other stuff, right? Let's pull up performance metrics, let's change the TDP, that stuff. And with this one, you have more customization. You don't really get that right now with the Legion Go. Everything is just in the Steam Deck. So that one, I just feel like I'm covered as I pull it up. Looking at the 1X player and the A.O.K. Zoe, they've added a lot of stuff, but it's taken them a long time to do that. It's slowly getting there, but it still feels like it's lacking big time. And I don't personally like the visual look of it as well. R.O.G Ally is pretty solid. The Legion Go here, it's okay, but right now it just feels like a lot of stuff is missing. And that's, again, just with the kind of quick presets and changing TDP and all that other stuff that I want. We're also looking at, hey, we're gonna need video drivers to be updated for this. We need to get BIOS updates. They just added the option to change this to 6-bit gigs of RAM. Before, I think you had 3, 4, and 8, and by default, I think it's at 3 or 4. We're looking at the R.O.G Ally. For the TDP, you had, I think, 10, 15, and 25, and then eventually they added the 30, which I don't know how I feel about that, with it already having thermal issues in regards to the micro SD card reader. But those updates come slowly with feedback from the community, and the response to that is something that I'm also looking at. How quick are they to respond to this? R.O.G did really, really good, but there's just things like that micro SD card reader really irritates me because I've already had to return this once. And if you feel how hot this thing gets, the workaround really is just you need to update or upgrade the M.2 in this thing and not even use the micro SD card reader. So that just seems like that should have popped up in their testing, their internal testing with this, as a huge issue. If I'm looking at the Legion Go, I think it's going to have the same issue, to be honest, because the micro SD card reader is right here next to these intake fans, and then you have the exhaust up top. It gets super hot as well. But overall, this is much bigger, so that may save it. I also don't know what type of shielding they have around it because I haven't pulled this thing apart. But I think that's just the way this is going to go from here on out. Expect anybody that is looking at a handheld, 3-ish, maybe even 6 months of updates. So as you get this, it's just, there's going to be a lot of issues that you're going to have to deal with, which also brings me to them sending out early review units. I'm a small channel. We look at, hey, it goes to these big channels and they get these way early versions of it. I see some reviewers are like, a lot of them do warn you, hey, this is an earlier version, most likely going to see bugs and things like that. They're good at doing that. Then I just see two camps with this. One, they're giving it high praise for a lot of things. And they're like, oh, this is great. It has these features, yada, yada. And they don't really talk about the downside. And then I see the other ones where they come down on it really, really hard because of all of these issues. And I think that's where the companies are going wrong with sending out these early review units. What they should be doing is sending it out, hey, can you test this? We're going to take all that information, we're going to approve this, then we're going to send it back to you. Then that will be the review one. Versus the reviewer doesn't have time to sit there and, especially with these big channels, and hey, I'm going to just give you this constant feedback for 2 or 3 months, and then I'll get to the review. They're not going to do that. Their time is more valuable, and they need more. Basically, they need to be doing other things if they have other products to cover and stuff like that. So it's just going to be a waste of their time. So that's really the two camps that I end up seeing with this. And that to me is a little bit concerning because we're going to see the same pattern over and over and over again with the reviews. Whatever the next handheld is that comes out, right? OLED reviews for the Nintendo or the Steam deck are coming out. I'm about to say the Nintendo Switch, but that's coming out right now. A lot of praise with that. Well, they've had 2 years. They've basically taken the same thing. They haven't, outside of updating the screen and a lot of the cool little things, they basically took all the feedback and then made it better. Hardware wise, if you're looking at the CPU and the AGPU and all that other, like they haven't updated anything outside of making the it's went from what 7 to 6 nanometers on the processor, so it's just more efficient with that, but it's not new in regards to that. So we're seeing extended battery life and all these things, but again, they had what 2 years. They took all this feedback, made this thing even better. So it's not technically a Steam Deck 2, but it's like a Steam Deck 1.5. It's like the ultimate version of what this should have been. And so with that one, you're just going to hear high praise for the most part, right? With these other ones, when we see another one come out, I think, again, we're really just seeing the software is behind. So you're getting a weird preview to a device where it should have been, hey, let's fix all these things, let's address them 3 to 6 months down the road. That will be the definitive review on this thing because we've been able to fix the issues that we got feedback on. So I want to hear from everybody in regards to that. What do you think about that? Because that's how I just see the state of all of this. Do you agree with that or not? What is your opinion on how that is playing out? What are your thoughts on the Legion Go, the R.O.G Ally, the Steam Deck, the OLED Steam Deck? What are your thoughts if you have any of the other handhelds? Which I am going to say, just for the controller, it's something I'm going to talk about in the review too. I do like that these slide off. 1X Player did the same thing with the 1X Player 2. I don't have the dock. The little middle dock is over there. These dock, and then they clip onto a battery pack that took, it was supposed to launch. I got this in February. I did my reservation in November. So then I got it in February, 3 months. You had to wait 3 months. And then the dock for this was angled, but they had issues with it. It was supposed to come out in April. That got pushed all the way out to June. So that's when I finally got it. And by the time I got it, like the hype for me was over. I thought the battery was going to be built into these, and it is not. You can't just sit there and use it like this. That would be cool if you could, is what I kept thinking. Legion Go did that. When I talked about that in the review of this, everybody was like, oh, that's because the Nintendo Switch, they have the patent on that. They can't do that, right? I don't know if that comes with like, hey, if there's a workaround and you have to pay fees for whatever. But Legion's doing it, right? Maybe they're a bigger company. Maybe they are paying that. I don't know if they have a workaround. They created their own patent, whatever it may be. They do have that, and I like that feature. Very, very cool. But looking at some other companies trying to do that, and it didn't quite work out. So kudos to them for taking a risk where some of the other ones, they don't have that. It's just something that makes this very, very unique amongst the handhelds. Again, if I'm looking at a Nintendo Switch, it does that though, but as a Windows-based device, where this could have been that, and it just wasn't. You take that though, and then you add on top of it software that's not that great. Because now there's so many that are out. I'm comparing it now to the Steam Deck. I'm comparing it to the R.O.G Ally, which again has gotten so much better. It feels like it's lacking at this point. Looking at other reviews though, especially from smaller channels, there was one, I'm gonna say Vicarious Nick, buddy, he did a solid one on it. Joystick Ayrton, I watched his video. And the FPS mode, he brought up something that he was like, man, it's a cool feature. They really decided to go out on a limb and try something unique and different with that mode. But it feels more like it's designed to be better with an RTS game over an FPS. And I've played the FPS and the RTS, and to me, he's right. So experimenting around with that has been awesome. Because there's certain games where it just feels like it fits better than the FPS, although it can be good for that. I just wanted to throw that out there too, to have people try it with a different game and see it may connect better with that. So, and I think even with that, adjustments in the software to help with games. Because a lot of things I've noticed is immediately, in terms of games, I have to go in and remap for certain ones, and then certain ones, I've tried, I can't figure out. It's like a little puzzle. How am I gonna map all these buttons out? And it just doesn't fit for the game. If they can have some software where we get more control potentially over some things. And he brought up another good point too, is that if you're left-handed, it's not gonna work. Like, you can't switch the other controller around. So customization with this down the road would be cool too, because if you're left-handed, you're just gonna be kind of out of luck on this device. But this is where I'm gonna kind of wrap this video up. I just wanted to get this off of my brain because I've been thinking about it, like I said, for a while. I wanna hear from everybody. This is just the new norm, in my opinion now. What do we think about it? What feedback do we have for the Legion Go? Again, I'm gonna say the response to everything, they've been pretty quick. R.O.G was pretty quick too. They have been pretty quick. But then we get dead silence on certain issues where they should be, in my opinion, addressing it more publicly. Talking about the micro SD card readers. They did a post on that, by the way, but it just should have been quicker. Because what I don't want is, I don't want an NZXT situation, right? Where they wait too long and then really the community goes after them because you have issues where things are catching on fire or breaking or whatever it may be. And it just kind of tanks the overall trust and stock that the community has in the company. So what do you guys, like I said though, have in terms of feedback with the software amongst all of these? What's your opinion with the software with all of these? All right, do you agree? Do you agree with this notion that we're getting these and they are half-baked and we are the beta testers on these products? Are you okay with that? Are you not okay with that? Like I said, this is just, I wanted to just get my thoughts out there and then hear from everybody else so I can kind of, I don't know. Otherwise, I'm talking in a vacuum. I want to throw it out there so I get some response back and then I get to kind of change and adjust my opinion on it as well. So that's going to be it for this video, everybody.
But hold on, this is Future Steve. I wanted to, after watching this, I want to come back and give a more concise answer. What do I want to see in this specifically? I've kind of thrown out some things, but let's go over like a list of things. I want to see a TDP slider scale here. You just have performance mode here for the thermal mode and the OS power mode. You have performance and balance and efficiency or quiet. I want sliders for that. Let me dictate the amount of wattage that is going to go into that. In this as well, let me adjust without going into the BIOS the amount of RAM that I want here. Again, you're going to have to go into the BIOS right now. It'd just be easier if you could do it just from this, or maybe you could prompt it to go into the BIOS to do that really quick and then it comes right back to Windows, something there. Picture presets would be awesome with this because we have none. Adjusting the performance metrics, not only the information that is there, but the location of that as well. So we could put that in different areas. A lot of different things that we're seeing with the R.O.G Ally right now. I showcased the video and I'm gonna have it up right now of all the different things you can add. Let's take a lot of those things and now bring it over to the Legion, where we are having just quick access and the ability to change the RSR, right? You could call it Fidelity Super Resolution or the Radeon Super Resolution, whatever you want to call it. The ability to turn it on there versus going to the other main settings. Again, quick access here would be really nice. The ability to quickly change the LED lights. If we could do an airplane mode, recording mode, they have the tracker pad. So this is different type of ask here. I like the controller and then the Windows mode on the R.O.G and how you utilize that versus the tracking pad. I don't know that everybody would want that. It'd be a nice thing that I would personally want, so that'd be another thing. So there's a lot here that we could add that would make this better. I expect that I will see it down the road, but those are the specifics of what I personally would like to see added to this.
My review is coming out next week for this. Still in the midst of doing that. A lot of testing on this thing. Outside of software though, once I've done some of the updates and everything, I will say I am quite impressed with this device. I do like, these are still my top ones. Legion Go, R.O.G Ally, Steam Deck is still up there. Again, because they do so well with the software. But as far as Windows device, these are neck and neck right now, trying to figure out who's going to come out on top between the two. So if you have any questions on this, by the way, let me know in the comment section and I will make sure to answer that in the review as well. So that's going to be it for this video, everybody. Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.